So let's talk about professional hitter meetings, and we'll start at the top of the pyramid and work our way
Mhm.
down. Looking at it professionally, let's just take it from the scenario of a hitting coach that's employed by an organization. All hitters obviously go away for the offseason, some stay at the complex, whatever. And some take a liking to certain coaches that they had and they work with them throughout the entire year. How can you properly, if you're a hitting coach inside an organization that's being employed and paid by a major league organization on the player development side and the major league side, how do you go about making hitter meetings for players who are away from the facility and are working out on their own for the off-season period?
You want to have the conversation about how did you feel your season went?
Mhm.
What do you feel? What were your strengths? What were your weaknesses? If we look at our spray charts, it might say something like you really chased in this area,
Mhm.
or you were very successful in this area, but the pitch away you struggled with.
Mhm.
And 72% of the pitches you got were away, but they weren't necessarily on the corner. So let's see, maybe we have a plan. Look, you should really focus and work on driving balls to right center field.
Mhm.
Okay. So me as a player or as a coach, there are ways that I would do that. Like, this
Mhm.
is
Sure.
how, this is the process. This is mechanically what we're going to do. Now, if we break down your swing, Johnny, it's the reason you give away that is because your front shoulder spins a little early, right? You're focused on really, rotating fast. Well, that is great on pitches middle in, but pitches middle away, we actually have to decelerate our body, or our body can't rotate as much. So that's what you need to work on. Whether or not he chooses to hear that information is up to him. Does Johnny want to have a job next year?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. So Johnny, this is where, or hey, he had a great year. Let's work on, let's work on leaning out, or getting a little bit stronger, or getting faster, or something like that. But I think the hitting's in a good place. So whatever you did last offseason, just continue to do that to grow as a hitter. So
Sure.
but you're right. That player is going to go home, and maybe dad's going to work with them, or
Mhm.
maybe other players. So we had a player come back to the lab that was a college player who worked with us for almost an entire year until he went to college, right? We opened in January. He went to college. Okay, so like 8, 9 months.
Mhm.
Transformed this hitter into something that was much better. I know Matt spent a lot of time with him. I spent a lot of time with him. And he goes and he has a great fall,
Yeah.
at his freshman fall at a D1 program. And when they sent him back over break, they're like, "Hey, don't let anybody work with you."
Right.
Like that was the college coach's swing. And he's like, "Well, that was the person that got me. Like, that's why I had such a good." Obviously, he didn't say that, but he comes back in the lab. He's like, "Hey, they didn't want me to listen to anything you say, so make sure you just turn the machine on, or just throw it to me." He
Oh
made a
my
joke
God.
about it. So,
Yeah.
again, that's a different. So for me, I try not to create indifference between what I teach and maybe what his hitting goes. I'll ask him, what do you work on? What is
Mhm.
it that you work on with your guy? Okay. Oh, we work a lot on rhythm. I love it. I love rhythm. Rhythm is rhythm. Oh, we work a lot on, launch angle and creating more bat speed. You're a mature human being that already hits the ball over the fence.
Yeah.
Like, do you really think that's the most important thing, or should we maybe cut down on our strikeouts, and maybe cut down on our, spray chart? Everything you hit on the right trajectory is to right center, but your power is to left field. Well, that's a problem. It doesn't do you any good to hit the ball 110 miles an hour to the pull side if you topspin everything because you're swinging up too much. So, maybe those are the kind of conversations you have for a player. Like, what matches the kind of player? How do you see the ball? Are you an early guy? Are you a late guy?
Right.
Maybe let's work on letting that ball travel a little bit more. Okay. Maybe let's let it travel an extra 2 or 3 inches just to retrain your brain and your eyes to work. Because I had a great couple conversations with Ryan Harrison about some of my players. So Ryan runs Slow the Game Down. His dad, we've talked about his dad, Bill, was kind of the godfather of sports vision.
Mhm.
And so when players have great swings that I work with and they struggle because they're always early, they pull balls foul, or they're always late, or they can't pull the trigger. It's either mental or vision, right? It's mental. They're freaking out. They're scared. They're tense. Okay, that's, we got people for that. Or their vision is off, and they're like, "Well, Jake, I don't wear contacts. I go to the eye doctor at school. I can read the 20/20 line." Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But how are those eyes working together? And sure enough, it's always the same thing. One eye is doing all the work. And so
Mhm.
their depth perception and their tracking abilities is off. And as soon as we fix that, all of a sudden their contact points get better. So sometimes it's that you need to go see a vision specialist and make sure your depth. I know you see 20/15, but let's make sure it's, your front eye or your back eye is not doing all the work. They need to work together. So, sometimes it's that, but you always have to deal with, I have a hitting guy,
Yeah.
and that's great. And what I want to do is I want to know what that hitting guy is teaching, and I want that player to, if hey, you're part of the organization, hey, send me some clips,
Mm.
send me some video of what you're working on, just so I can kind of keep an eye of what's going on.